Yes, we're glad you could join us. Welcome to Lunchtime Politics, and we're reaching you live from our global headquarters here in Lagos. I am Bukola Koka. Our top stories. Kebbi State Election Petition Tribunal upholds Governor Nasir Idris' victory. Former president of the Nigeria Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, declares interest to contest on the platform of the Labour Party. APC SDP trade blames over death of party supporter in Kogi State. We're glad you could join us this hour. And as we start off, in Kebbi State, the Governorship Election Petitions Tribunal sitting in Birnin Kebbi, the state capital, has affirmed the election of Governor Nasir Idris of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The tribunal's three-member panel also dismissed the certificate forgery allegation leveled against the Deputy Governor Umar Abubakar by the People's Democratic Party and its candidate, retired Major General Aminu Bandi. They noted that the subpoenaed witness for and document tendered by the PDP and its candidate were not basic requirements for contest for the position of governor and deputy governor, according to the Electoral Act 2022. Chairman of the panel, Justice Ofem, who read the unanimous judgment for about 3 hours, held that they also failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the deputy governor of the state forged his certificates.
Compliance. And all the evidence they call it is witnesses in a whole. None of the evidences was able to say that there was any issue of non-compliance of the electoral system, sir. Particularly their star witness, who is the state chairman of PDP, who came to court as PW 86. And all evidence he gave there were admonished to say they are hearsay evidence and go to no issue.
Election petition, particularly in gubernatorial election petition, this is the first court to go, and by the provision of the Constitution, we have two courts now, by virtue of the provision of the Constitution, of which the petitioners have the right to approach. We have the powers, if we so wish, and based on the instruction and directives of the petitioners have the powers to appeal to Court of Appeal.
And more from Election Petitions Tribunal. The one sitting in Umuahia, capital of Abia State, has struck out two of the motions by the petition of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Oke Ahiwe, against Governor Alex Otti of the Labour Party. Some of the issues struck out, according to the tribunal, were attempts by the petitioners to introduce new issues and attempts at repeating themselves. In the meantime, the panel is still reading its judgment for the determination of the entire petition, including the petition by High Chief Ikechi Emenike of the All Progressives Congress. Emenike, who was the APC Guber candidate in the March 18 election through his lead counsel, Tochukwu Maduka, a senior advocate of Nigeria, is praying the court to remove Governor Otti from office, alleging that Otti did not resign his membership of the APC before joining the Labour Party in 2022. Emenike, in his petition, also alleged that Otti's name was not in the register of the Labour Party when the party nominated him as its governorship candidate for the 2023 election. We'll bring you more details as they unfold from the Abia State Election Petitions Tribunal that is currently reading its judgment. To other stories now, away from the courts, a former president of the Nigeria Bar Association, Mr. Olumide Akpata, is calling for an end to the practice of placing personal interests above the interests of the people in politics and governance. He highlighted this view during his visit to the Edo State Secretariat of the Labour Party in Benin City, the state capital, where he went to declare his interest to contest the governorship election on the platform of the Labour Party. According to the INEC timetable and schedule of activities for the party primaries in Edo State, the election will hold between February the 1st and the 24th. That's the primaries, while the election proper will hold on September the 21st, 2024.
My interest is for the people of Edo State. And what I find in politics and governance in Nigeria today is that the people have been taken out of the equation. Nobody seems to care about the people. And when I looked around, the only political party that I found to be people-centric, people-oriented, to be interested in the lot of our people is the Labour Party of Nigeria. And it is therefore fitting and opposite that it is with this party that I have come to pitch my tent. And it is on the platform of this party that I would like to run for governor of Edo State. And as Mr. Chairman has already informed you, he has indicated to me that this ambition, this aspiration is welcome to the party. And for that I am most grateful. And I have promised him that in the event that the party does decide to accord me with the status that I so seek, I will be sure to fly the flag of the party high and to ensure that the Labour Party continues to triumph. The people are with Labour. Labour is with the people. And together, Labour Party will do well.
And moving up north, ahead of the November 11, 2023 governorship election in Kogi State, the ruling All Progressives Congress and the Social Democratic Party have continued to engage in a war of words over the fracas that led to the death of a party supporter on the 29th of September at Kotonkarfe on the outskirts of the state capital. At a news conference in Lokoja, the Kogi State capital, the APC alleged that the Social Democratic Party is responsible for the mayhem that led to the death of a party supporter. In a swift reaction, however, the SDP is accusing the All Progressives Congress of disrupting its campaign plans in order to spoil its chances of victory at the coming governorship polls. The calm atmosphere usually enjoyed by residents of Kotonkarfe, a town in the outskirts of Kogi State capital, Lokoja, was disrupted by some hoodlums during a campaign rally of the Social Democratic Party, when two groups were said to have disagreed over some issues. It all started as a minor issue, but like a bolt out of the blues, gunshots rent the air as suspected hoodlums disrupted the SDP campaign and cars were shattered with bullets while some persons sustained injuries. After the mayhem, an undeterred candidate of the Social Democratic Party leads his team to solicit for votes. With the death of a female supporter who was hit by a bullet, the APC and SDP trade blames over the death of the innocent citizen at a press conference.
It is on record that the SDP candidate already said the Commissioner of Police was not aware of his rally. The rally was a satanic ambush on the peace-loving people of Kotonkarfe, leaving in its wake the blood of an innocent woman, whose only sin was belonging to the All Progressives Congress. We call on the supporters of our party to remain calm as security agencies are trusted to ensure that killers don't walk freely without consequences.
If you don't have the acceptability, then you struggle to sell yourself to the people. Now, if you cannot forcefully sell yourself to the people, they devise a violence means, which is what they are using right now. And we are calling on the state, because the state have failed. We are calling on Inspector General of Police, the Commissioner of Police, and the DSS to please come to our aid in Kogi State.
The allegations and counter-allegations continue as both parties defend themselves.
The unguarded, inflammatory, and acidic statements of the SDP candidates, Alhaji Muritala Yakubu Ajaka, on national television have not gone unnoticed. What is of surprise to us is how he gets away after calling a whole ethnic group a common enemy.
You go to Ankpa, people don't go out late in the night again. Once it is 5, 6, everybody is indoor. Is that the kind of leadership we are looking for? We are begging the general public that they should beg and ask Siabelo to sit up. We are not in a banana republic.
Despite the continuous political thuggery in Kogi State, residents will be heading to the polls in the next 4 weeks to decide who wins the governorship seat in the state. And moving down south now, the governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Imo State, Athana Chono, has promised to provide jobs for the teeming unemployed youths in the state by establishing cottage industries across the 27 local government areas. Mr. Chono disclosed this when his campaign train visited Oguta local government area of Imo State to woo electorate ahead of the November 11 governorship election. He says if elected governor, his administration will give autonomy to the local governments and also ensure that community policing is efficient to tackle insecurity in Imo State. And joining us now to take a closer look at the programs of the Imo State governorship candidate of the Labour Party and, of course, the general chances of the party in the state is Mr. Chibikem Diala. He's a spokesperson at Athana Chono campaign organization. Thank you for joining us on Lunchtime Politics.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So, Mr. Diala, let's start with, what seems most recent. The Supreme Court ruling, which affirmed the candidature of your candidate, Senator Chono, may have cleared the way for him to contest and set aside the interests of the other members within the party. Has your candidate reached out to these other members just to ensure that you're on the same page and there's a united front of the Labour Party as you head to these polls?
Thank you so much for that question. It is interesting to note that after the Supreme Court's dismissal of the court case last week, Labour Party has been as excited as ever. And you must also know from the day the primaries was conducted, Senator Athana Chono, the candidate of the Labour Party, reached out to, all the other contestants who, were in the race with him. And incidentally, quite a handful of them are with us at the moment. And engagement continues, and he has promised that he will continue to reach out to the remaining ones. So I'm sure, and I can state clearly that at the moment, the Labour Party in Imo State is one. And the momentum has increased much more, and as you can see from our rallies in different locations. So far, we have gone to 10 local government areas in the last 2 weeks, and the welcoming has been awesome and interesting as cases.
But much more than that, has your candidate reached out to Mr. Basil Maduka and to Mr. Ikenga to ensure that they can work together?
At the moment, what I know is that the candidate has set up a committee, a group of former contestants as well as party leaders and well-meaning Imolites who are going about this engagement at the moment. You will agree with me that it's been a long process. Some were dissatisfied, but that's how politics is. But Athana Chono, being who he is, a man with a large heart, has actually reached out to the people, the partners, the collaborators within the Labour Party, and even beyond that, within the Igbo, because all of us are Imolites, actually. Basil is an Igbo State person. Ikenga Okebu is from Imo State as well. So there's been a concerted effort to continue to engage. And I can agree with you that within a short while, these engagements will bear the needed results, and we're heading to victory at the polls.
The reason I ask is because there's nothing to suggest that, these aggrieved members of the party are working with the candidate of the party to ensure victory at the polls. And this is why I'm asking this next question. Are you worried that the other parties, that's the PDP and the ruling party in the state, may exploit the divisions within your party to scoop gains for this victory?
Sincerely speaking, there are really no visible divisions at the moment. Of course, there were dissatisfactions. People weren't very happy with the certain aspects of it, and that's why they went to court. And good thing, the Supreme Court, has been able to give judgment on some of these matters, even from the lower court, Federal High Court, Appeal Court, and now the Supreme Court. The engagement continues. The PDP, of course, cannot, there's no way the PDP or even the APC can take down what the Labour Party is at the moment. Imo is Labour Party at the moment, and the ovation is very loud. And Senator Chono is leading the way. He's leading frontally. He's going himself to the rural communities, engaging everybody. And the people know what they want. The people who want to have an APC government that will lock them down again for the next 4 years. No, neither would they want to have a PDP government that does not have a defined plan. Senator Chono has a roadmap that is going to help to bring out Imo from where it is now to the path of sustainable development. So the people are wise. Imo-lites are educated, they are wise, and they are not money bags. They are people who take decisions based on the facts that are on the ground. So Imo is Labour, and Labour is Imo.
Well, we have just a few weeks to find out if that submission is true. But your candidate is promising something very significant, that one cannot ignore, particularly where administration governance, good governance is concerned, which is local government autonomy. Will your candidate go ahead and implement this with the template that currently exists? That's with the emergence of, local government chairmen from the elections that were recently conducted in March 2023? Or will he go ahead and, as is the customary practice, to sack local government chairmen and conduct fresh elections?
Yeah, permit me to state it right. There is no, at the moment, there is no local government system in Imo State. The current governor has not conducted any elections since he came into power. The moment he came in, he promised that he's going to conduct the local government elections in the state. 3.5 years down the line, that has not been done. And you also remember or recall that last year, January, the House of Assembly did not assent to the bill that was seeking for full local government autonomy in Nigeria. The Imo State House of Assembly on the 11th of January 2022, declined assent to that. That is one of the reasons why there is no full autonomy in Imo State and even in Nigeria. So the government here does not believe in local government system. The government does not believe in local government autonomy. And Senator Chono believes in it. Access roads to most of the local government areas are closed, inaccessible. You cannot pass between Ahias and Himbembano. These are two very big local government areas. So the major road leading there is totally dead and blocked. If I had time, I would have shown you the visuals. Now, moving forward, Senator Chono believes in local government autonomy. He believes that the local government system is the solution. It's a part of the solution to the insecurity we're experiencing at the grassroots. You may wish to know that most of the attacks happen at the local government level, at the grassroots level, not even at the city center. So where it may be safe, but what about the local communities, where majority of our people belong to, where they live in? So Senator believes that reviving the local government system within 6 months, and I can bet an arm for that Senator Chono will conduct the election within 6 months of his inauguration from January next year. And that election is going to be the freest and fairest election. And he has also said that he will not touch a dime of the local governments. They will be able to do better when they're able to use the funds coming to them. At the moment, the current government takes away 90 million naira on a monthly basis from the local government system. Imagine if we had 90 million naira in each of these LGAs, what can be done with security? I bet you a lot could have been done. If vigilantes could have been properly funded, intelligence could have been funded, the local economy will be revived, education at the local level will be revived, even rural roads will be attended to an extent. So those are the things that Senator knows, that if you allow the local government systems to work, then you can be sure that the challenges we are facing as a people will be reduced. Then at the subnational level, which is the state government, more can be done because you have a focused kind of arrangement. So that is what he has said he will do, and I do not have a doubt.
You're stating categorically that your candidate, if elected governor, will not touch local government funds. What is there on paper to hold your candidate to account if he wins the election?
Everywhere he has gone, for all the 10 local government areas he has visited in the last 1 week or two, he has made a vow. He said, I will not touch a dime of the local government system. In Ohaji Ebwema 2 days ago or 3 days ago, he said to them, I will not touch a dime of the ISOPADEC funds. ISOPADEC is a fund that comes from 13% derivation. So he said, I will not touch a dime of the ISOPADEC funds. I will guarantee that an oil and gas industrial park is delivered in this place. And with that oil and gas and industrial park, more people will have access to employment. More companies can locate their businesses in those, because there will be 24/7 power within the industrial park. So he has said that, and I know him beyond that. He's a man of honor. He keeps to his words, not because of politics. I can assure you that Senator is someone that tells you yes and keeps it. That is why sometimes it takes him time to be able to give you an assurance. The moment he gives you an assurance...
Let's manage our time now as we touch on another very important subject. Your candidate is also promising to industrialize all local governments in Imo State. How does he intend to achieve this, particularly because of the concern of insecurity that is prevalent in most parts of the Southeast?
First of all, part of the reasons for insecurity is unemployment. We are at the highest level of unemployment in the state. Education is at the lowest ebb. Investment education is about 381 naira, in the last 2-3 years, as per reports, So with this, you can see there are no investments. Since 2021, there has not been any foreign direct investment in the Imo State. And those things come with trust. People do not invest in areas where there is no trust. So the government, what Achonu is going to do at the first instance is to instill confidence. The people need a man they can trust. The people need a man they can release intelligence to. The reason the insecurity is also thriving is because you can't even trust the security forces around. You can't even trust the government to release information to them. So they need a government they can trust. That is number one. When you establish a government you can trust, then you can now look at industrialization, which he has said he will 2 industrial parks in each of the senatorial zones. He will deliver what they call a pharmaceutical park in Olo zone. If you look at the people from Olo, they are mostly in Lagos on Ijaba doing, medicine business. So what that means is that it's going to establish in collaboration with them and the private sector, we need that and the Olo axis, an industrial park that is solely for pharmaceutical. Of course, to attract other things, tourism, hospitality, and other investments. Then in Owerri, there's an existing light industries park within Owerri town. It's impassable, you can't even access those, that's where Coca-Cola is. So he plans to remodel the place, redevelop it, and make it more viable. Going to Ngopala, which is right behind where the airport is located, they have spoken about the cargo airport severally. That is going to make sure that it's not about Imo State International Cargo Airport. It's going to be truly Imo International Cargo Airport. So it's going to ensure that the first cargo lands in that place within the first 1 year plus in government. And he's also going to start an industrial park by that Ngopala, because it's the largest local government area in this place, in Imo State. And they have a large, massive agricultural base. So you need to have an industrial park that can focus on agro-based industries. Now, in Okigwe zone, which is the third senatorial zone, you have ceramics. Remember those days we had also ceramics, which was vandalized by a government before this particular one that is in power. It used to produce beautiful tiles. We go to China and buy China wares, where we can produce China or Mbano ware, or even Imo State wares, right here in our backyard. So he's going to revive that by developing a ceramic park and as well as looking at an agricultural park. But do not forget that Senator himself has a massive agricultural business in his hometown that has the capacity to employ 2,000 persons in full capacity. At the current moment, it produces about 1 million fishes per month. That's about 12 million fishes per year. And also has, a ranch that has capacity to produce 5,000 stock head. At the same time, also, it has snaring. This is a massive...
Lofty as these programs are, as they sound, it also goes to the availability of funding to execute them. You don't have to answer that. We must wrap up this segment. We want to thank you very much, Mr. Chibuike Diala, who is the spokesperson of the Athan Achonu campaign organization. You have our best wishes as you head into the polls.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
We're still in the Southeast. The Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Otti, has backed the federal government's decision to end fuel subsidy payments in the country, saying the removal was clearly the right decision and should have been done about 10 years ago. Speaking during the 63rd Founders Day anniversary lecture of the University of Nigeria on Nsukka in Enugu State, Dr. Otti, who was selected by the institute to deliver its anniversary lecture, said ending the fuel subsidy in Nigeria was a matter of economic survival, but more could have been done to insulate the public from the anticipated shocks.
The removal of petroleum subsidy was clearly the right decision and should have been done decades ago, or even earlier. But then, I'm of the considered opinion that more could have been done to insulate the public from the anticipated shocks. Being a policy that would introduce shock into the system, I believe it should have been communicated better. I do not think that much was done to properly educate the public on the issues at stake and the danger continued payment of subsidy posed to the economic health of the country. Importantly, Deliberate considerations should have been made for the two categories of poor people in the country, the urban and the rural poor. While the urban poor would have benefited extensively from a subsidized mass transit system, the rural poor would be more satisfied with cash transfers, food palliatives, farm inputs, low-interest agro loan, targeted specifically at smallholder farms.
Governor Agbu Kefes of Taraba State is warning that he will deal with anyone plotting to frustrate or sabotage his education policies. The governor is stressing that his free primary and secondary education policy stands, and the 50% slash in the state varsity fees, as well as that of the College of Nursing and Midwifery, must not be tampered with. He was speaking when he briefed the media on his administration's policies and initiatives.
That is standing on the way to frustrate this policy, the person will be dealt with. So people should be very, very careful. We're talking about the destiny and life of young people. If we are treated that way, will we be here today? So people should be very, very serious. I'm very serious about this. A lot of us here attended primary school free. Is it the secondary school? Some of us did not even pay school fees. In fact, I will still shock them. Next year, WAEC, government will pay for children. Speaker, take note. We're going to put it in the budget. WAEC, we're going to pay for children. And those that will perform very well, we'll give them scholarship. After 10 years, these same children that we've neglected, when they are lifted, they will run this state in the way it is supposed to run. So I'm very resolute. I can be very stubborn in this kind of areas. Even if it is one day, I'm going to be here as a governor.
The governor of Kwara State, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak, has led policy direction talks with top officials of his administration to guide government's ministries, departments and agencies as different stakeholders now commence preparations for the 2024 budget. This comes ahead of the citizens' budget engagements, which are due to begin shortly. The governor says the budget will prioritize the completion of the ongoing capital projects and inauguration of same to improve living standards and create more jobs for the people of the state, as well as social protection to support the vulnerable.
Ladies and gentlemen, the direction of our administration has been clearly outlined in the Sustainable Development Plan, SDP 2021 to 2030, the 10-year economic blueprint detailed in our policy objectives and priorities. I urge every member of the cabinet and government officials to familiarize themselves with the key document, along with few others like the Agricultural Transformation Plan. I must add that these policy documents are always open to being adjusted to the emerging trends in socio-economic realities of our state and the country as a whole. The 2024 budget will be tailored on the same objectives.
And you have been served on today's edition of Lunchtime Politics. Thank you so much for watching. Join us again, same time next week, when we'll bring you another round of editions. I am Bukola Koka. Bye for now.